Hi, friends. Today we're going to be reading a new book on a new continent. The continent we were reading about before the past couple of weeks was Australia. Now we're going to be reading about the continent of Africa. And one of the really neat things about Africa is it has lots of really cool different animals there. You might have some guesses of what animals, let me make it a little bigger so you can see of what animals we might be reading about by looking at this front cover. Do you see any of that fur? What animal do you think we're going to be reading about? Two animals. Okay, keep thinking about that and we're going to read and we're going to see if we're going to find out with it. Let me show you something with our continent first on here. Here's our continent, Africa, that we're going to be talking about Africa. And you can see here where Africa is. This is where we are, right here in the United States. And here's where we're going to be reading about Africa. So one of the words I've been saying today is that word continent. We're talking about the continent of Africa. Have you heard of a continent before? Yeah, so this word, continent, can mean a very large area of land that often includes many countries. So there are lots of countries in Africa. So the setting for this book is the continent of Africa. Say that word with me. Continent. Good, continent. We've been talking about continents in Wit and Wisdom too, so you already have some knowledge about that. Great job. So think about that for a minute, what we talked about. What is a continent? Yes, a continent is a very large area of land. Now think, which continent is shown in this picture? Which continent is shown in this picture? Right, that's Africa. And can you look at, let me show back on here. Can you point to the continent of Africa on the map on this page? Can you point to the continent of Africa on the map of this page? There's Africa up there, and there's Africa down here. This one's showing with all of the continents, and this is just Africa. Good noticing on that. So the continent of Africa is home to lots of different wild cats. There's things such as leopards and cheetahs. So you might have noticed, or maybe you were wondering, could those be leopards or cheetah fur? I'm noticing that it looks like it might be. So we're going to see, because cheetahs and leopards are large cats that live in Africa. They may look similar, but by paying really close attention, people can see the differences in them. So we're going to read today to find out the differences between cheetahs and leopards. You might already notice some differences when you're looking really closely at that fur right now. What's the difference you notice? I notice some of those things too. I see a lot of small black spots, and this one I see brown spots with black spots around it. All right, let's read the back of our book. Our T's are on here. Help me read that. I'm going to zoom into it so you can help me read that page. Oop, let me go up just a little bit so you can read the title too. Let's read our title first. Remember our first read, we want to make sure that we're reading the words accurately. So it's okay if you want to read it slowly and make sure you're reading those words right, okay? Is that a cat? This big cat and that big cat have dot, dot, dot on neck and back. How are cheetahs and leopards different? How are cheetahs and leopards different? So we're going to read to find that out today. Okay, remember our last question tells us what we're going to read to find out. So let's zoom back to the front of this book. And we're going to see how cheetahs, and leopards are different. Read that title with me again. Is That a Cat? Words by Rachel Hilton. Is that a cat? Is that a cat that ... We see a bit, but not a lot. Ooh, look at that photograph. Dash and whip. This cat can zip. He grabs his dish in one swift trip. Which cat is this? We check his grin. A thin black path from eye to chin. Look at that one. Do you see it's a thin black path? Look at his black path from his eye to his chin. That's a distinguishing feature of a cheetah. Look at that label for the cheetah. So they have the thin black path. But quick, in that gap, which cat is that? That big cat can hop up top. To nap or snack, he will not drop. Which cat is this one? Oh, now let's see a new cat. Which cat is that? We check his back for dot on dot with tan on black. This is a leopard. So remember on the front where we saw that had the tan spot with the black dots around it? That's how you can know it's a leopard. This big cat and that big cat have dot, dot, dot on neck and back. Which cat is which? Are you a whiz? Can you pass the big cat quiz? Now let's see what we can figure out about the quiz with them. Let's see if you can figure out first. Which cat is this one? See if we can give us a little hint. Remember, the leopard's fur looks like this. So which cat is this one? The cheetah. I see its black path. Which cat is this one? Good, the leopard. Look how he has the black spots around the tan spot. About the animals, here's a chart that shows us comparing cheetahs to leopards. African habitats. Cheetahs have an open area such as grasslands and deserts. Leopards have many areas including grasslands, deserts, forests, and mountains. Body type. Thin body with small head and long legs. For the cheetah, the leopard has thick body with large head and short legs. Fur. We already looked pretty closely at the cheetah and the leopard. Best skill. The cheetah's best skill is running. I've heard of that before. As fast as a cheetah. And the leopard's best skill is climbing. Sound. Cheetah's sound is purring. Leopard's sound is roaring. Oh, they must be louder. Tomorrow, we're going to read the more section and talk about some of the vocabulary words that we had noticed in this book so far. So I want you to be thinking, what was this book about? What was this book telling us about? Yes, this book was about cheetahs and leopards. What did it tell us about cheetahs and leopards? It told us all of the differences and how to tell them apart, how to tell if it's a cheetah or a leopard. What key detail could tell you more about this topic? I want you to hold on to that question for tomorrow. When we reread it, we have our big main idea that it was comparing cheetah and leopards. Think about some of those important details, and we'll read the more section tomorrow. I'll see you then. Thanks for reading with me, friends.